Oh, the. So then, that's it. Also, you only have answers, but they're not so good. They, those so happen to be different. And I just, my grandparents, like their kids are pretty.
May 14th, 2025, Creswell School Board Meeting to order. And we'll do the question. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Welcome, everyone. There are lots of people here tonight. Some exciting stuff we get to do. We do have a quorum. Lacey will not be with us tonight. She had to attend a different meeting, and we have Sarah. Hello, Sarah. And let's.
I move to approve the agenda with one alteration, that we move item number 3, the health curriculum adoption, from number 3 to number 1, and move everything else down 1 notch.
Second. All in favor? Motion carries. Okay. Thank you, Sarah.
I move to approve a consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor? Motion carries. That was good. And now we get to hear our health team's curriculum adoption information. I'm so excited. You look excited.
Yes, we have the jogathon today, so I'm very happy. All right. Well, we decided to combine our presentation into one rather than all 3 buildings, just because a lot of the information that we do share is very similar. So this is our first time doing it together, so let's see how it goes. We had a very robust team at all of our buildings at Crest Lane. My entire leadership team was a part of the health adoption. And then this evening we have Jamie Willis, our 5th grade teacher here, to help provide some insight as a teacher, and then myself, of course.
At Creswell Middle School, it was myself and then all 3 PE health teachers.
And at the high school, it was the health teacher, Mr. Wilsby, and Ms. Novel, who's
and like all of our adoptions, there's a lengthy process that we go through in terms of gaining feedback from all the stakeholders, including our staff, and holding a parent night, and researching the curriculum. So very similar to previous processes. We'll do the same thing with our health adoption, of course. And then just to kind of come back to our vision and mission, this has been the same for all of our curriculum adoptions, but making sure that we do look at the K-12 pathway throughout the content. While our curriculum adoption for health is not going to be the same curriculum K-12, because that's just not an option for us. The standards and the instruction and the purpose is aligned to K-12. So we printed these off for you so that you would have as a reference, just because I know that you guys probably will get some questions. And thought it'd be handy for you just to have it with you. Oopsie. Yeah. There's a lot of words on that slide and you certainly can't read it all. Oh, I'm sorry. So the visual there is there's 8 main standard groups within health, and they do meet all of those different health dimensions. So looking at environmental health, physical health, social health, emotional health, and mental health. There's all different aspects. And then moving on to the next slides, it goes into the different standard topic areas. So the standards are broken into different content areas. So The first one being wellness and health promotion, yeah. And then from there is safety and first aid, substance use, misuse and abuse, food and nutrition and physical activity, social, emotional, and mental health, healthy relationships and violence, abuse prevention. And then the fun ones, growth and development, and sexual and reproductive health. So there's a lot of different dimensions when we're looking at the health adoption, lots of different areas to cover. And so when we look at these slides, you'll see the bullet points underneath that kind of give you an overview of what specifically is going to be taught. This is looking at all the standards K-12. It's not necessarily broken down. So these are just overarching standard areas. And of course, the regular standards that you can see per grade level. We can provide those to you, but they're also on the ODE website if you need to see specific grade level standards. So at Crest Lane, our priorities when we were looking at the curriculum was that it one met the criteria by the state, that it was engaging and accessible for our students, that it aligns with the community, that it's easily adaptable within our schedule, as we've talked about before. We have a really complex day and we have a lot to cover in a short amount of time. And then we also wanted to make sure that we were in line with that K-12 alignment as a district.
At the middle school, similarly, theme one is just meeting the ODE criteria for adoption. Our second theme was engaging for students 6th through 8th grade in format pictures. The third was addresses Creswell population, community, and subgroups. Theme 4 was available in print and digitally, and theme 5 was fosters K-12 alignment.
So same as the other two, just making sure that we're looking at a curriculum that aligns with and was adopted by the state. So met the ODE criteria for the state adoption. At the high school level, one that fosters engagement, and that's as theme number 5 says, both available in print and digitally. That we're looking at culturally responsive and relevant content within the curriculum, and that there's a strengths-based approach to that. And that it just supports K-12 alignment, that even though we're not adopting the same textbook, standards are K-12, so making sure that, you know, as we're progressing, we're supporting that K-12 alignment with health.
So here is just a list. This is the list of what programs were available for school districts to look at for curriculums. There wasn't a lot to choose from this year, which was fine, but it didn't give us as much of an opportunity to look at a variety. So for elementary school, the grade body shop was the only curriculum that was fully was adopted that met all the criteria according to the state. The studies weekly in paper ed met in all areas except for sexual and reproductive health. And then in those standards, the recommendation was to use the ODE. There's a free set of curriculum that they put on their website that's developed by somebody at Oregon Department of Education. So we looked at those curriculums with the supplement of what the state puts out. So we did look at all three, even though there was only one that was fully approved.
At the middle school, we, for the first time I think ever, had the most to choose from of anything. Usually it's the other way around, I feel like. And we actually had 3 that met ODE requirements. And interestingly enough, one of those aligned with the choice for the elementary, one of those aligned with the publisher for the high school, and one was a standalone. They align K-12 standards wise, but as far as like the publisher. So, and I'll talk more about what we decided. It's a secret.
So actually at the high school level, there was only one curriculum that was approved by ODE statewide for anybody. There was a second curriculum, which at this point called Spilled Beans. We're getting the human kinetics, but the Goodhart Wilcox wasn't approved, but when they were given their ratings, they went back and answered questions as to, you know, why why didn't we meet that? And then they addressed what those were, but it was not going to make it into this curriculum. And so, while we could get the supplemental, we opted to go with what the state had adopted and that met all the state standards. So that was the human kinetics, local high school health. I know, sorry, I'm still beat.
So here is our recommendation based off of our work with our teams at each building. The elementary school is hoping to adopt the Great Body Shop. And
Middle school would like to do the Good Heart Wilcox Comprehensive Health Skills for middle school, which is the one that does not align with the publisher from the elementary or the high school. But our reasoning behind it is, in my opinion, a good reason. We followed our rubric very closely, and that one set itself apart. There was only a small difference as far as numbers for the rubric, but the issue that we found between the Good Heart Wilcox and the other two was a big one. So as far as digital versus being in text print, the Great Body Shop at the middle level, basically the online version was a glorified PDF. They took the book, they scanned it in and uploaded it, and that was their version of an online curriculum. That is not engaging for middle, I don't think that's really engaging for anyone online, but it's really not great for middle schoolers. So that's what set those two apart and why we decided we do not want to recommend that. We did not want to recommend human kinetics at the middle level because we did some digging and we're working with the ESD. We found out that the textbook is not necessarily the same as the online ebook. And so if kids in middle school have an online ebook, they can actually access lessons and topics at the middle level that are not in that book. And for our community, we do not feel that that is appropriate. We want to remain transparent so that any person could take a look at what's being taught and be able to ask questions and look at the information and not wonder, is my student accessing other information and why is this some sort of secret? So that is why we're making the recommendation to go with the Good Heart Wilcox at the middle level, because for whatever reason at the middle level, that's the route they went with the ebook and the textbook. So we did really want to align honestly with the publisher of one of the two schools, but that was kind of the kicker on the why we don't feel that's best for kids.
And for us, it was, we decided to go with that one because it did meet all of the criteria for ODE. We did not want to go with a publisher that really was the only one that met all of the state standards according to ODE. Mr. Goldspink does a great job with his lessons of, I'm sure the kids can attest to this, putting what the standard is at the top of the lesson that's being covered and then filling that in. And he felt that this book allowed him to do that. He could see where the correlation between those were. He likes the idea of having the textbook in the classroom, so this will be a great new addition to the classroom to be used by the kids. We do health in 9th grade and we do health, so the first, they need 1 full credit. We do 0.5 in 9th grade and then the other 0.5 when they are seniors. So the book will be spread out over those 2 grades. Again, it was the state approved. So it's not to go against the grain.
So I guess I would like to just give Ms. Willis the floor a little bit too. We did bring samples of the elementary that I'll pass around for you. So this is 1 unit for 1 grade, one of these, and there's 10 total units for the year per grade. So you can kind of get an idea of what the material looks like, what would be in front of students. It's not complete, there's 1 for every grade level, so not all 10 for every grade level in here. And then this packet, which we can make available for you guys to look at later as well. This shows, This shows the K-5 alignment of all the units, so all of the units that are on personal injury prevention and personal safety, it shows you what the lessons look like for all K-5, so you can kind of get a deeper look at the lessons. But looking at this is really nice because you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like for kids. So I'll pass those around, and then I know Jean would like to share a little bit too from her perspective.
Yeah, so from a teacher point of view on this, the consumables that Ms. Hallie is passing out, they are very engaging and great, and we felt that those would definitely hold students' attention. We also like the transparency of it. There's a home component that goes home, so there's really good communication between families. And as we mentioned before, it does fit into our day really nicely. It is easy to fit into the day. It is a nice, concise, quick lesson. It makes sense. We also felt that there was a lot of alignment with our science standards and SEL as well. And it also just does a really good job of breaking down topics that students are already curious about into age-appropriate, relatable ways. Especially with like, the one thing that really stood out to us was like first aid training was in there, which is something that is just like a really nice real life skill. So just seeing as the year goes on, there was a lot of that. There's been a lot of aligning with other subjects, a lot of really relevant things in an age appropriate way, and it really thank you a day off.
There's also a number of teachers in our building, including myself as a classroom teacher, who have used this material in the past. And obviously as a teacher, it was really easy to implement. I felt like it was a very easy curriculum. It didn't feel like it got too heavy. It didn't feel like it crossed any boundaries. It didn't like put me in a position to have conversations that were beyond the classroom. So for our teachers, it felt like when they looked over the teaching material, that it would be really easy for them to feel comfortable teaching all of it.
I just brought the teacher's edition as well as the student edition of our part of the text we would like to adopt. And again, that's a 6-8 textbook, so our teachers would work closely with each other, as well as looking at the standards to determine basically at what level will we cover what.
And there is a copy that was sent to us from the publisher at the high school. It's available to you. But it is online as well.
I think one other thing just to point out is that all of the curriculum, like so at the elementary school, we will have a copy of all 10 lessons for all 6 grades in the office. So anytime the parent wants to see it, they can. There's obviously a couple of topics that do spark some interest of our parents, and we would welcome them to come in and look. Particularly in 5th grade, there's the growth and development where they learn about the endocrine system and the effects of hormones on our body. And that may be something that they would want to opt their kids out of, which we would allow and maybe give them the packet themselves to do at home if they so choose. So, yeah, we want parents to be able to see it. We did have an information night back on May 1st, and we had a lot of good input. I had several parents reach out to me through email and text. Through parents were really excited about having the curriculum. So. You guys have any questions for us?
No, I don't know. I do like the idea that you can give it to the parent if they want to choose to teach it themselves, because I really think that's a really valuable tool, especially if they're grade school level.
I taught actually in a previous position. I got asked to teach the growth and development units. I did it for like 5 years since 5th grade. I was a 5th grade teacher. And every year there'd be 1 or 2 parents that would ask to just have them do it at home, and they really appreciated having the resources. They just didn't want, I think most of the parents just didn't want the conversations from other kids and families coming into their moments of education, but they wanted their kids to learn it. So we definitely wanted to have the tools.
No,
I think the growth and development too, sometimes students, even though they're in the 5th grade, they may not be ready for the conversations, and having it at home might be easier than in the group environment.
Yeah.
I may have had an older child who was like that, he wasn't ready to talk about it with his peers, right, and talk about himself, so I think that would be really valuable too.
Well, I would say as somebody who taught it every year, at the end, I had several kids who always come up and say thank you. They just felt so much better knowing the things, because it's also an uncomfortable conversation to have with your parents. Like, you want to know, yes. And like, I couldn't have a conversation with my own kids, but I taught it to hundreds. Yeah.
So at the middle school, they'll have a set of textbooks that they use.
We'll have a set of textbooks,
That's
that
what
we'll have, and then the ebooks are the exact same.
Oh, okay.
So depending on students' need, whether or not they learn better with hardback book or
Mhm.
the ebook, they'll have that within the classroom. And then they use the textbooks unless the family checks one out for a specific reason, the textbooks will remain on campus.
Yeah.
And the ebooks are always available. So the great thing about that is because they mirror each other as far as topics and issues, parents can even preview lessons and make a determination that way as well.
Yeah, and so the high school does not have an ebook. It's
No, there's
just-
an ebook that goes with it. Mr. Goldsmith liked the idea of having the textbook, just to be available, but he also sets up his Google Classroom with the assignments, really well with the standards. And so his intent would be if he needed something from the ebook to assign that section when that lesson came up or when that unit came up. And so he's researching to see if he can pull that versus just assigning the whole book.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Look at me, I asked all the questions.
You did.
Feeling very proud of myself tonight.
What grade, do you do health in all 3 grades in middle school?
Yeah. Maybe hoping all these strikes faster.
They left 10 minutes ago, so.
All right, well, we appreciate the presentation, that was great. We
Can
will.
we see the high school book, or can you give it to Scott?
Yeah. Yeah, he gives stuff, we can check it out, yeah. Yeah, this material though, it's
This is excellent.
it's great. So, I don't have any other questions, maybe that's any questions? All right, nothing else? You gotta stand there, You've been jogging all day, Amy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you guys very much, we appreciate the presentation. Our next item would be student representative report and CHS leadership.
Can I make a motion that we do the superintendent report first?
Can we do that?
Sure.
Okay, Steve,
Will someone second my motion?
I second that.
okay, all in favor?
Like, just buying him some time.
Yeah, it's all good, I just like to, you know what, we're wrapping up the end of the school year, we need to be flexible.
Okay, so, the activities that I participated in last month, or at least the ones I highlighted from last month, that's a fraction of what actually happened every month. But, my report highlights, the things I really wanted to point out was the CHS academic building meeting with staff. So myself, the architect, and Joel all met with the Creswell High School staff and talked about the ideas and where we might be going with the academic building. And then we also went over their ideas or suggestions and input that they gave us through surveys. And then in that meeting, we confirmed the priorities for that building. So we came out of there with a list of priorities identified by the staff to include in the academic building of the remodel. We also, from the survey, had a list of priorities from the students and what they felt was needed in that building from their perspective. And so when we combined the list, we came up with the top 3 priorities in there. Number 1 by both groups was the windows. Windows, and windows. That was echoed throughout the survey, high priority. And then, secondly was the electrical outage for the classroom by the teachers. Second from the students was restrooms and more privacy and things for the restrooms. And then, there were a few other items that were identified with the HVAC system and then, some of the door that needed to be relocated from a classroom, which we may or most likely can't do without changing without moving classrooms, wall spaces and things, so. And then right on down the list, fixing the roof and those kinds of things, which we had on the list already. We had HVAC, we had the roof, we had some of those other things that they had identified as well, so. But that was a great meeting, and I think all voices were heard on what we feel that wing needs. And then Greenways Academy Online, since COVID, we've been using Accelis online for supplemental courses, for credit recovery, for tutoring classes. And we've been looking for a higher quality content, curriculum content for the courses. And a plethora for, courses that can cover a wide band for our students in each of the areas of interest. And Greenways Academy has those things offered. So we've been talking with them about costs and how we might arrange setting something up with them. To be able to use those courses and to have more opportunities for our students. So those were the two highlights of the month. And I'll bring you more on both of those as we continue on through the year and into next year. I also want to point out in the activities that we had our first CSD OSEA bargaining meeting last week or couple weeks, within a couple of weeks anyway. I think it was last week. And so the bargaining session is underway, and we have the next meeting on Monday. The CTE building design, so finalized the design for that building. I met with Joel and I met with the civil engineer and the architect, Kirk Wilson, that's helping us with all of our architectural stuff with the building over there. And identified the exact plot for the building and then the design of the building to accommodate where the location is. That design was then sent into the engineering outfit that's constructing and fabricating this building. And it's now going into the final engineering design. And I confirmed today I'll have that back in 5 weeks. And then we'll submit that in 5 weeks for permits. Currently, we're looking for a land use review and should have that long before we get the schematic design from Arnhem Steel, who is fabricating the building for us. Any questions? Did I take long enough? Doesn't look like I don't see it.
Really slow play setting up, guy. Wait, what's the next thing on the other? Yeah, just slow play setting up. They gotta be close. They left 15 minutes ago. Oh, there she is. That's probably done.
Yeah, they're there.
Oh, perfect. Perfect timing. Oh.
You guys wrapped up for us. All right, go ahead.
Oh, come in, Lana, have a seat. Where do I sit? Wherever you want.
It's just.
We can,
I can start the student representative.
You wanna do that one?
Yeah, I can start. You should be.
she's being here. Just one more relationship. She is?
Rachel, do you already have the slideshow? Is that?
She might be getting
No,
this
it's-
course.
My understanding is that it's all on sugar.
Oh, switch it over to that. I'm assuming the first slides would be just in
Yes.
there. Bunch of stuff into the others.
Can Sarah still see, even though we can't see her
She has to actually see it from the,
from the laptop?
yeah, the laptop and from a view. If Tim, like, every once in a while wrote some paper, and zoom in on that. haven't figured out a way to make where we can share, like she can see a full presentation.
That was all.
Yeah, I don't see the student representative.
That was my understanding.
It's very small,
It is very small.
so she may just be choosing to speak to it.
Speak to it, okay.
I mean, I can.
Well, let's let her go in. You guys start and she'll go in.
Awesome, you and I are first,
My name's Malachi,
My name's Mila.
and we're part of CHS Student Leadership. That one is talk a little bit about what the student exposés were. So we decided as a leadership class to highlight some students that maybe haven't gotten recognition for like cool events or cool things that they're doing outside of school. So all of us got different groups and we got to choose a student to highlight and interview. And we got to create a presentation for you guys on cool things. So there'll be Lily and the ski team, Nola and her baking, Lincoln Criddle and his piano, Cat Jackets and Grant Sharks doing pilots, and Elizabeth Lewis in the choir, then Owen Markle and his mechanics. So there's quite a few different presentations for you guys. So
Me and Malachi chose to interview Lily Sherrill. She's on a ski team with some other schools like Eugene, Sheldon, the bigger schools, I would say. These are just some ways she started skiing. She's a sophomore, first off. She started skiing at a very young age with her dad. It was just a hobby then. She started to officially join the ski team and like pursue competition last year as a freshman. She didn't know anyone on, she didn't know anyone on the team, but she's really determined to like face her nerves, and everyone on the ski team was very welcoming.
yeah, so she said it was a long process to join the ski team. It wasn't like an immediate thing because she was going and joining a team that was at another school. So she said it wasn't right away, but when she first heard about it, she was like, I totally want to do this because she had already done some competitive racing. But when she found out that she could do it as a sport with a team, she really wanted to do it. So she said her practices are about 2 times a week before there's any snow on the mountain. They're already like doing hills at the ski resorts and just doing hills like as a team to get in shape. Because the thing that she told me, especially when I asked her about doing skiing, was that you have to be in phenomenal shape, especially when you're doing it competitively, because it is not easy on the body. She also said that they do weightlifting, long runs, and that way her like lungs can adapt to the cold weather that are up on the mountain.
Lily did mention that one thing that most people might not know about skiing is that it's very expensive cost. Like obviously we know that just tickets are expensive, but not only that, like the gear. You might not think about this, but you need special equipment such as like helmets, poles, even different skis. She also mentioned that it's not just like bombing it down the mountain. Each player will be individually timed, and they all go out, like they go individually down the mountain. So they time, and then their points get put into a team, and then they like win by teams. And then top 10 people in the race will win awards. Lily says she does see herself playing or competing in college, but she doesn't know quite yet where she'd like to go.
The other thing that I thought was really cool, I think she was a little offended when I asked her this, but I said, like, how's it different than going down, like just going down the mountain, you know, as a regular person? And she looked at me a little funny, but then she told me, she said, Malachi, it's completely different. She was like, the way that, number one, you're racing down the mountain, the speed that you're going at, also the gear is completely different. She was like, when you go with your uncle, let's say, you know, down the mountain, the gear is, number one, way more expensive, the poles are different. The skis are different, and then also your speed was the biggest thing. She was saying you are flying down the mountain, you're not just going. So that was pretty interesting.
We have some photos of Lily.
Yeah.
You can see her uniform. I think it's a lot different than what you see the average person wearing, for sure. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thanks.
That's good.
Next is Noah.
I don't think so.
I guess Lincoln will be next.
So me and, three other students interviewed Lincoln Criddle, me, Truman Dermeyer, Reese, Miller, and, Tanner Freeze. We, interviewed Lincoln on his, hobby of playing piano. He has been playing piano for a very long time, and he actually plays it with, his instructors, the former mayor, forget his name.
Dave Strand.
Dave Strand, yeah. And we recorded a video of our interviewing.
Hi, I'm Truman Reminder. This is Grant Sharts and Reese Miller, and we are interviewing Lincoln Criddle about playing the piano.
Oh, sir, when did you start playing piano?
6 years old.
6 years old?
Why did you start playing piano?
Because of older cousin.
Okay. You wanted to?
Yeah.
Nice. This is something like you had to ask your parents for, like you're like, hey, can I start taking piano lessons? Or did they kind of?
Yeah, they did it.
They did it? Okay. Oh, gotcha. So she taught you how to play the piano first?
No, it was at my aunt's house.
Oh, the piano was?
Yeah,
Okay.
and the teacher went there.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Who was the teacher? I forgot. I know that they have now.
Who's the new teacher? Dave Strand?
Yeah, they just love
Yeah, they love Dave Strand.
I
We
guess
love
so.
Dave Strand.
Like
Yeah.
you.
His piano teacher, my piano teacher.
Maybe his future me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's okay, cool. What's the best thing about piano? What's your favorite part? It just gives like something to do and it's fun when you like accomplish a new song.
Nice. Yeah. Do you play at church ever?
No.
No? Okay.
What's the worst part of it? When I had to go to a lesson and I didn't practice all week.
Yeah.
It's really rough. What's your favorite song? I learned. Yeah, you learned. I like either D or solfeggio. Would you say piano was like improved your life, like made it worse at all? Like better or worse? Better. Better. Yeah. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Just a thing.
What's something outside of just learning music, like a life skill that piano could teach you?
Maybe patience.
That's good.
Yeah.
Discipline and routine.
Yeah. How do you prepare for reciting? Just practice the song at that time, pretty much.
Yeah. Do you get nervous typically, or is it just something that over the years has become easier for you to do?
Yeah, I don't really get nervous. Yeah, it's not like super important to me. So I don't really care.
Yeah.
What's your favorite kind of music to play? Your favorite? Okay. Lots of culture.
Do you play jazz or blues ever?
Yeah. Oh yeah, jazz is actually way better.
Yeah, jazz is my favorite.
Yeah.
Well, I think that concludes our interview. Thank you so much, Lincoln Criddle, for sitting down with us and talking about your hobby outside of school. We really appreciate it.
And then we also recorded a short clip of him playing piano. I don't know if you want to see that, I can play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
sure we can find it, this is Grant Sharp.
I concluded that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, excuse our attire. But our students today assignment is on Catarina Jackets and Grant Sharks. Who they both fly planes. Pretty interesting extracurricular activity.
Not just something anybody does.
Yeah. There's Grant Sharks right here. There's his picture of choice and then the plane he flies. Grant's passion for flying started when he was just a little kid. At the age of 5, he decided he wanted to fly planes. This passion has been the work for over a decade now, with Grant eventually getting student pilot's license in September. When Grant decided to get his student pilot's license in the fall, it was simply just kind of a consideration for a career. Previously, he was flying about 3 times a week, earning about a total of 20 hours of flying. And before every lesson, he would typically do like 2 to 7 hours of studying, depending on the lesson. Pretty hard work. Grant's schedule no longer allows for him to fit in the time for all the studying and all the flying. His passion started lacking, so because of the financial commitment and the limiting lifestyle of piloting, Grant had to stop working towards his license, with the continuation of Grant's flying being unlikely. Other ways students can get involved if they want to be a pilot, then get in contact with your local airport. The easiest and fastest way to get your foot in the door is to reach out to local pilots that can guide you in the right direction for your next step. Grant only recommends being a pilot if you have a burning passion to fly, because it takes so much work, it's necessary to be committed. Overall, being a pilot can be an extremely rewarding pastime if one's able to find the resource to pursue this endeavor.
Okay, so Kat, this is a picture of Kat and her plane. Her passion grew up, like she grew up around planes, and her family owned an aviation business. So when she lived in Alaska, she grew up around it a lot, and so her stepdad owns a plane that she's also been able to fly throughout, and so yeah. She doesn't have her piloting license, but she is like working towards it because it takes like 4 to 5 months about to actually get it. So it takes a lot of dedication and time that she just hasn't had. But she typically usually is able to fly around like once or twice a week. But in the middle of her senior year with everything, it's gone a little chaotic, so she hasn't been able to fly as much as she would like. She has a couple pieces of advice. So in order to get into flying planes, Kat suggests that you would like reach out to local airports, contact your friends that want to fly, like finding lessons that you can do and studying and stuff like that. And then she thinks that flying planes is a great hobby, and it's something that like if it interests you and you have a passion for it, then it would be a great discovery. And to go on free discovery flights that you can, because it's a great way to get into it and actually like see it hands-on. And that goes through the Experimental Aircraft Association, and it's highly recommended if you just have a passion for it. And then some things to note to get before your PPL is she wishes she took into account how difficult it might be to go on ride-alongs, because a lot of conflicting schedules, and it's kind of something you have to plan ahead for. And so there's a lot of like factors that go into that. And so it makes it more difficult when she has a condensed schedule and somebody else has a condensed schedule, so they can't go on ride-alongs much together.
Very nice. Thank you.
So, Joel Bannon is a student at Creswell High School, and we just had an interview about his political TikTok account, because he talks about like, just like a bunch of different political things going around the world, and we have like a little short video of his TikTok account.
Your poll has been selected and keep.
So, this is Joel, he has a full TikTok account, I don't know if you guys know what TikTok is, but it's pretty popular. It's an app and he posts a bunch of political things, but like just talking about things going around the world, not just like America, like he said, the Pope, and we had this little TikTok video.
A new pope has been selected, and he's American. In fact, he's the first American pope ever. Born in Chicago in 1955 to parents of Spanish and Franco-Italian descent, Robert Prevost will be the 267th occupant of the throne of St. Peter, and he will be known as Leo the 14th. Prevost first became a priest in 1982. After that, he moved back and forth between Peru and the US. He spent 10 years as a local parish pastor and as a teacher at a seminary in Trujillo in northwestern Peru. Leo the 14th has some big shoes to fill. The last pope was really an example of what Christianity is supposed to look like. Loving and respecting people, even those different from you, especially those different from you. Now let's talk about him being the first American pope. This is huge, especially right now with an administration that really puts a stain on Christianity. The Trump administration is very hypocritical when it comes to religion. But having an American pope is kind of a chance to retcon the administration and for people to see what Christianity is supposed to be presented by an American. And now I'm not trying to get too political, I just wanted to mention it. It's a good representation for America. It's good representation for Christianity. As a Protestant, I'm very happy the world has a new pope. God bless him and his choices, and I hope he does great things.
So, yeah, that's just what his TikTok account is about, it's just like different political things, like stuff like that. Maybe a little biased sometimes, but that's just what it is. And you do have a video of interviewing him, like asking a bunch of questions, how he does it, like what got him into it, like how long he's had that TikTok.
I'm thrilled today I'm being interviewed about my political TikTok account. The dream job is press secretary. Those are the people who the president appoints to every day to press conferences that relays information back to the citizens of the United States or anyone watching, right? So, and that's why I started the TikTok, because what I'm doing is, yes, I'm putting my own beliefs into the videos, but I'm also reporting every day what is going on in the world, right? So I'm already kind of getting a taste of what my dream job would be as press secretary, relaying information back to people while also adding my own voice to it.
What is your process?
Well, I go home after school and I just kind of look online and see what's going on. I find a topic I want to talk about. I try to find something that I find important to me, so I actually put some of my own perspective in it, right? So there's no point in making a video if you don't care about what you're talking about. Then it just feels lazy and feels fake, right? So I find what's important to me, and then I find my sources, record my video, and then edit it the same day, post it.
What inspires you to continue creating?
Well, ever since I've gotten into politics and I really started paying attention to what our leaders are doing, it seems it's childish. That's the best way I can put it. And it's not to place names on any certain leader, but the type of politics that people used to respect, that ability to sit down with someone who you disagree with and still see them as a person, that's what we're losing in this nation. So what inspires me is the hopefulness, my own hopefulness and my ability to do the type of politics I think is right and do the type of politics I think our nation needs and be the type of person I think our politics.
How do you stay up to date with political trends and changes?
It's you open your phone, but it's about the types of sources you use. I don't like to lock myself down to one source. Some people might just only use Fox News, but then you're only getting one side of the political spectrum. And usually people like to, on both sides of the equation, people like to fabricate things to their own liking. So I make sure to use multiple news sources and blogs. I don't like to stick to the legacy news stations like Fox, CNN, things that are so mainstream and they have so much influence from everyone it's kind of hard to know, which facts you should be using. So it takes a while to be clear because I'm using a lot of tools.
What are some goals you have for TikTok?
I would like to be fully monetized. I'm like 12% of the way there. I made a few bucks, but also my overall goal was to be able to do this as like some sort of side job. Because I'm probably gonna get stuck to some sort of 9 to 5, but it would be nice to be able to do my hobby on the side.
Yeah.
And kind of spread the type of politics I want to see in this country, because what we're doing right now is very childish. And I would like to see respected politics be integrated back into our nation.
What got you into politics?
I always like watch the news. I think it was when Russia first invaded, and I really got into keeping up to date on geopolitical things that are going on, and that just kind of evolved over time.
What's your TikTok account's political stance?
It's not either way. It's not like Republican or Democrat. It's very situational depending on what we're talking about. When it comes to like things like the border, I might lean more to the right. Things like women's health care stuff, I might lean more to the left. So there's no really set balance. I'm not set in the party.
Yeah, so that was it. I think you started that TikTok account like around a year or two ago, and I think that's a cool hobby just to like keep on day, like knowing about what's going around you and stuff. And that's it, I guess.
So I have rules today. I mean,
Thank you.
Okay, you want me to do my student?
Yes.
Hi.
There's like a bunch more. Stickers on it.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Louis. And today Molly and Danny will be interviewing you for a student expose on your talent. What is your talent? I play the cello. How long have you been doing it for? I've been playing for 5 years. What is your favorite part? I like being able to play with my siblings and then connect with the classical instrument community. Who is someone who inspires you to do better at your talent? My teacher really inspires me to reach my full potential in my talent. What are some challenges? Timing is really difficult because I don't have a lot of hours in the day with all the things I'm involved in. What motivates you to continue? The hope that I'll be able to play in college and get a minor in music. How much time and effort do you put into your talent? I try to get in 2 hours a day, but that doesn't always happen due to lots of other extracurriculars and things that I'm involved in. Does this talent benefit you in any way? Yeah, it really helps me know how I can move forward in all of my other talents, like sports, and how I can just put in the time and the benefits that that brings. Do you think you will continue to do your talent in the future? I really hope so, yes. Are there any fun facts and stuff we should know about your talent? Me and the 5 oldest of my 11 siblings, we all perform together around Lane County, including performing at and many of the old folk songs. And it's a really neat experience for us to get to practice our talents. Thank you, Lizzie. Yeah, of course. Hi. And today, Molly and Dick.
In a community where the marble game is well known, there's one member that remains in the shadows, Owen. While the family is deeply involved and respected, few know the talents of Owen himself. Join me as we dive into the life of Owen Martin, a mechanic with exceptional skills. This expose aims to reveal not just Owen's technical expertise, but his passion for his craft. Get ready to learn about the man behind the marble name and why Owen deserves recognition.
All right, Owen. When did you start working on cars?
I started working on say like 7th, 8th grade year. And I just my biggest thing that I started working on when I started working on cars was my brother's wheel. And that was kind of the start of everything. I always enjoyed parents of the park. I was watching how it worked. It was fun. Wasn't good at that together, but man, I got freshman year, I bought my first project. Seven for a super. And after that, I was like, oh man, this is really fun, I'll keep doing it. And after that, I had all my saved up just from working and selling things here and there. And just started on it. Figure out what to do. What is your part of working on this? Being able to see what I've done when I was students and being able to get it, right, enjoy the amount of hours that I did something. What is your biggest pet peeve with working on cars? I think that peeve work cars, not big. You gotta be able to have a nice clean area with a slate, then I know where everything's at. All that everything works. Be able to just put the product down. Now, next challenges. But the fact that can't afford the nice schools like that. So I heard you're going to Wyoming for college. What will you be doing out there? We're going to Wyoming for college. What long-term goals in terms of cars and things? Welding or just working on cars, building custom stuff, like import cars, muscle cars, anything high horsepower or anything, just come back.
Owen Mark has showcased his incredible talents in mechanics. It's clear now how skilled and dedicated he is to his craft. Next time you see him, remember, he's not just any mechanic, but one of the most handy people you'll ever meet. With creativity, precision, and a touch of ingenuity, Owen transforms ideas into reality. So next time you need mechanical work done, just trust Owen to get the job done right. Owen Marth is not just a name, he's an expert you can rely on.
Can you send that to his mom?
Welcome.
Or the little no.
Yeah.
And I know you guys have been waiting for this one.
Yeah.
Okay, here's kind of a March and May recap, because I was absent last month. You did that. In March, like the three main things I have to say was we had our spring sports kickoff, we had our spring hoedown assembly, and then our spring hoedown dance. Go down these in the middle.
Yeah, sure, real quick, the assembly was pretty cool, we did hobby horse racing. So, kids got to hold like a stick horse and go over obstacles. Mila got pushed, I'm sure Mila can, her brother got into it, out there. Yeah, 3 of the wins made it, and, out of the 4, the win didn't win. So, but yeah, no, it was a really cool assembly, and I thought it was a great way to kick off the day, so.
And then there's a picture from our dance, we had a photo booth. It's pretty fun, we had Addie Green instruct line dancing. And then for April, spring sports, CHS Mr. home track meet, and then we had an LCC CTE signing day. 2 of our students signing the CTE programs. So far in May, we've had the Bulldog Market, where our students sold their products for CTE learning. For sports, we just had golf and tennis districts previous this week. And then last week, right, was Teacher Appreciation Week at Creswell High School. We did like a car wash and classroom cleanup. That was fun. We also did like a staff breakfast.
Yeah. This got gifts and stuff.
And there was like some other little gifts and stuff too. And then class 2026 hosted our very successful Goodwill truck over Mother's Day weekend. It was packed to the brim. Here's some pictures of the Bulldog Market of different products that students created. Some of them are made in CHS classes, some of them are student-led businesses. And then coming up in May, we have ASB elections next week for both CMS and CHS. For sports, we have track districts at the end of next week. And then baseball has a chance of making playoffs. And then on the 20th, we have our prom time assembly with the prom being on the 31st at the graduate from 8 to 11.
Yeah, so real quick, elections, we got to go over to the middle school today and talk to the 8th graders. This year, we changed it. Normally in the past, we did it on Google Forms. This year, we were doing a full paper ballot system. So it's a little bit more work, but it's okay because we're trying to get kids engaged in voting. So we're gonna have ballot boxes in the courtyard at the high school next Friday, and a ballot box at the middle school on Wednesday. And the 8th graders will get their ballots and they'll fill it out, and then during their winning or advisory period, they'll be able to go down, turn in their ballot, they'll get an I voted sticker and candy. And then for the high school, when they do it on Friday, they'll also get candy and an I voted sticker. So it's pretty cool. And then that Friday, there'll be a live stream that will announce the results. So it's going to be kind of like a news-ish thing with our CSPN group, which you guys got to see earlier in the year doing sports. We'll be announcing the results of the election. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Lots of plans coming up, but I think everything is going to turn out pretty awesome. Lots in the work. And the assembly as well on the 20th. That is also getting finished currently, and we're scrambling behind the scenes to get it done, but it's going to be amazing. So for either of the two, if you guys want to come see those, ballot boxes at the middle of high school on the 23rd, and this on the 25th. So yeah, what's going on.
For leadership right now, we're working really hard on community outreach. So we have kind of 2 main assignments outside of our project-based committee work. We had a bingo assignment, which is like basically a bingo sheet of different community outreach assignments, like going to school board meeting, seeing a new local business, attending a new sports game, volunteer for clothing closets, things like that. And students report like to the class on their findings. They do 2 presentation on 2 of them, and then they do a written response on 2 of them. And our goal with this assignment is just kind of to get the students to gain new perspectives in our community they might not have had before. And then also, we have a student expose, which is sometimes we've said before that, but timing was a big crunch. We're in kind of small groups, and we're just trying to highlight CHS students with non-school sponsored extracurricular activities, but the goal is to bring them some recognition.
I'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Yeah, so last thing, the play for the school is tomorrow. It's the first showing at 7 p.m. There will also be a showing on Friday and Saturday, again at 7 p.m. It's the Odyssey, but mostly a comedy. I am in it for 2 lines. So me and Truman, the guy that you saw earlier, interviewing Criddle's also in it. And I'm not gonna give any spoilers on what happens, so you have to come out If you want to see Elizabeth singing, who was also interviewed, gotta come out to the play. So, yeah, at 7 p.m. tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday.
What's the plan?
The Odyssey,
Honestly.
yeah, but mostly comedy. Yeah, so make sure you guys come out. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very nicely done.
Everything.
Yeah, it's fun. Thank you all. That was amazing. We really, I was very happy to reach with about that. That was very great. We are gonna keep talking and I know you all wanna stay here. But you don't, you can, I mean, if you wanna stay for the rest of the board meeting and you get extra points for leadership, you can't. If you wanna go home, you can do that. No extra points today. And Julie, you can go too. Except for you. You guys cannot go. Our next item, because we juggled things around a little bit, no public comment, I'm assuming Joel. No unfinished business, because we're very. We do have some new business, few action items, so. I move to adopt the CES grade 5 through K through 5.
Second.
Okay, second. All right, do we have any discussion on that?
Yeah, I felt pretty comfortable.
I
with
just
the elementary.
I just know that Ken's like. No, I really like this curriculum, like, I would have loved my kids to have this curriculum, so. It's very good, so I am all in favor unless there's discussion, okay? All right, Sarah, stop talking so much. All right, yeah, motion carries. All right, next item.
I move to adopt the CMS grade 6 through 8 health curriculum.
I'll start with that.
Any discussion on the middle school? Shoot it. I guess I do have one quick question. I'm sure any of you guys can answer it for me, and I thought about it after getting sat down, but you did have a community input night. Did you get much feedback from any of the people that participated in that?
Yeah, we had a few people that showed up in person.
Mhm.
I had a handful of people messaging over parents square. For the elementary school, the feedback was all really positive. There was one parent that did show up who has historically come to me with lots of concerns and was actually really pleased with what they saw. But of course, the publisher did not give us a sample of some of the more nicer ones.
Yeah.
That parent will have full access in the fall to look and of course.
Okay, great. How about the middle school? Yeah, did the middle school have any feedback? I don't know.
Yeah, they did, there was.
Here's
Stand up, because I'm blocking it.
Yeah.
There was a parent actually that visited both with Julie and with myself, and I think they might have stopped by the elementary table too, to look at the curriculum. They were really interested in, at both levels, what, it talked about in regards to relationships, whether that was, your first boyfriend, girlfriend, or just friend relationships, and, how that was set up within there. And so the discussion was around in the curriculum, just really talking about what a healthy relationship looks like and not putting a label on a type of relationship. So they were pleased about that. I think they read a little bit so they could go home and have a conversation with their child, what is being planned. Like it sounded like in the moment they were having some of these needs, and so they were appreciative of the language. Again, being more generic and not like specifically related to romantic relationship, but just a healthy relationship.
Can you remind me, I know we talked about it at the elementary school, but at the middle school and even at high school level, you know, there's some topics that are sensitive, right? Like, how do we communicate with parents when those types of conversations, you know, how do they know, oh, I should be more prepared, or
Is there
I
a
wanna opt my kid out of
yeah.
that conversation, like, how do they know how we're going to do that?
I don't know that, I guess we have to give me an example of what you mean, but
Yeah, I mean, we can be transparent, right? All the sexual health and
the
sexual health conversations, right? Like, how do parents know my kids are about to have those conversations, so they can make an informed decision if they want their kid to participate or not?
So Mr. Goldsmith has all the standards available and is willing to have those conversations with parents. I don't know that historically that has gone out pre the class at the high school level at least, and I can't speak to the middle school if they send that out prior to that. So that would be something that, you know, that he could look into, sort of having that, but he does have his scope and sequence laid out, very tied to the standards and the specific standards that he is covering.
So wouldn't he prepare for syllabus for before he goes, or when the students start the health class, he would have a syllabus that goes out to parents, right?
There's a syllabus, but I don't know that at any given moment, like as you're going through, today we're talking about this and then we're moving on to this, sometimes you stretch it, like it might stretch out, so if one unit was a little bit longer than another, then it would like be that particular day that they spoke about it, but yes, it is available for review, just on the whole.
Okay. Same here.
What is the content, I have a question, what is the content change from the freshman health, like, class to the senior health
I
class?
would have to look at where he breaks down
Okay.
the content, but some of it's spiraled. Like, we're always talking about, healthy relationships and drug and alcohol and, suicide prevention and self-harm, like some of the topics, the bigger topics spiral, and then, some don't.
So for each
I would have to
class,
look
they
at it.
probably hit like those 5 categories that OBE is asking for in both courses.
Yes, and then there's also always adding act and error law, which happens, you know, at every grade level, every year. So, and those are around abuse and, self-harm and keeping things safe.
I guess, I have one.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, all in favor? All right, motion carries.
I move to adopt the CHF grade 9 through 12.
A second.
Any more discussion on that?
I would like to see the content before I approve it. I'll be quite like, just haven't seen the content, and these I've been able to look at. And I feel like I personally should do my due diligence and review the content before I approve it. That's just my personal opinion.
Any other opinions?
I mean, I support that. I think it would be nice to be able to see it before we approve it.
Is there, I'm like,
We're gonna have a
Any
copy
other-
of it in my office, but I didn't get, the publisher didn't send me enough for everybody, so I can put a copy in my office if you guys wanna stop and
Is it-
look at it. It's also, I don't know, did they get the links? I sent Amy the links to the, like the publisher information from the state as well, so if you guys have a chance to review that, but I can certainly have the both available in my office.
Maybe point us towards where those links are.
are they in the principal's report, where are they at?
They're on the email.
Oh, yes, they were in the email,
Separate
yes, that's
email.
right, I did get the email, I read them.
I only read the presentation. I didn't read the.
I clicked in, but I didn't get a lot of content from their website. I didn't feel like I really had.
Yeah, Marilyn's and she wanted to make sure, I guess, I didn't check with you.
No, I definitely got it, but I just didn't, like, I didn't read that far. It is not, I'm just one of many, I would just personally like to see it.
I do think there is also kind of like when reporting out saying that it's the only one that they had an option for with OBE, so I do think like, even if we were to be like, we think this is terrible, like really, can I ask the question, what would our option be? Like, if,
Something that wasn't adopted.
fair enough, okay, so, and
It
then.
would be an independent adoption.
Okay, and so it means you guys would like hypothetically have to go back, find something that you like, that works in probably, and probably have to parse through how it meets in all.
Well, and then support the argument for why we should be adopted by the state.
Yes, okay.
Hey Candace, I want to participate in this meeting now. For the high school health curriculum, the table of contents that is being proposed is abstinence, abstinence and contraception, adolescence and puberty, conception and pregnancy comprehensive version, dating relationships, female reproductive system, male reproductive system, relationship and communication skills, reproductive system with people with ovaries, reproductive system with people with testicles, sexual activity and affirmative consent, sexually transmitted diseases including HIV and AIDS, teen and identity exploration.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I think that, yeah, and I support Candace's opinion. I think for me, I kind of am like, what is the other option? You know, I mean, at the end of the day, it kind of boils down to this. My biggest thing as a parent is the option for kids to opt out and that being provided to them so that there is that availability. And so I think given that ability to do that, I feel more comfortable adopting it without having seen the content of it. And if it is what is recommended by ODE, I feel like that's really rare.
And I would say, Candace, in reviewing the language and the book itself, the pages struck me because they're not your super busy typical pages, like with just stuff all over it. The pictures were very generic. The language in the book is it's very appropriate and not over the top.
That's what I was, yeah. All right, so.
But it'll be in my office.
Okay, thank you very much. So we're gonna vote, all in favor of adopting? Go ahead and vote. Nothing, okay, so the motion does not carry.
There is someone else not voting.
Yeah,
I didn't.
They didn't vote and Mike didn't vote and neither did Sarah. So we will wait on the adoption until we can review the material.
Yeah. I'm not against their curriculum. I'm not saying I have concerns. I just feel like I need to see.
I think that's.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with it as well.
Take a look at that.
Yeah, okay, so we will bring it back to the table next month. Is that
Do you
how that
want
works?
it in the district office? Do you want the copy left at the high school? Where do you want to come see it at? Like, are you, or we can pass it around?
Do you want it, to like pick it up and look at it?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I mean, if I can go first. If you just give it to Scott tomorrow, I can look at it first and then just drop it off to.
I'll see you.
We live
on
in a
Monday.
small community.
I can get it for her and Sarah speeds by my house.
Yeah.
No, she can do it.
Do you mean drive carefully, Sarah? Carefully drive by your house.
So,
Throw them under the bus.
okay, we will connect and get that out and do that. All right.
I will just also share, if you guys wanted to look on the ODE website, it's the open source materials that they have available to review for schools that are choosing not to go with the approved materials. So like in the case of the materials of elementary school, we would have to use the ODE materials, and when our teachers reviewed that, they felt very strongly that the materials presented in the curriculum was a lot more friendlier with our needs.
Yeah,
And so I think that they're, just if you wanted to see.
What the open sources, yeah, no, that's good, that's good
Yeah.
information. Thank you for that.
Thank you. It's definitely, yeah.
And I don't want you to take it as we're saying no. I just feel like if people come and ask me if I reviewed it and I say, no, I didn't, I just voted, I don't feel good about that.
Yes.
All right, so our next item.
Yeah, just information. Oh, sorry. I move to approve resolution 2425-01 interfund loan.
Second. Okay, now we get this. So this is basically, what is it like? This is
Chanel, this is a procedure that Chanel needs to go through, or we do as a district, to address the, tax situation that's been delayed, until November. Chanel, you want to talk about the procedures and how we came up with this with our auditors.
Yes, so the interfund loan approved by resolution is to standard from the auditor. You don't have to do a supplemental budget since it's under 15% of the general fund. That number would be like 2.7 million, so we're well under it, so that's where the resolution is acceptable. So the amount 1.6 million, that pays both the small portion of the 2023 bond that we pay, it follows the debt schedule structure that you'll see in the budget book. And then of course our existing 2013 bonds. So that's the full payment. However, I don't think we'll actually need that large of an interfund loan because we are getting a prepayment from the county, the tax assessor's office. But the timing of when it's coming is crucial. It's supposed to come this next week, but if it's delayed, I can make this payment as of June 1st. I don't want to have to come back and do a second resolution, and I don't want to push the resolution off till June. So the amount of 1.6 is the max we'll need that covers the full loan payment. But I think more than likely it's going to be like 1.2 million. So the general fund will loan debt service, and then I'll build out next year's, well, I've already built out next year's budget, but next year's budget will show debt service paying general fund back. Like so.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, when does that?
I was like, I don't remember doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, this is because of the tax, this is because of what happened with the tax shortage, right?
Yeah, and we don't collect the majority of that until November
Okay, yeah.
this year,
It was
so.
this, it was this.
It's gonna cross the two fiscal years, which is why I talked with auditors to figure out the best way to record this, and just for transparency, this is the best way.
Perfect. So, all right, well, thank you for that explanation, just because.
Yeah, what is that gonna make our ending balance look like at the end of this year?
That's actually, not gonna touch our ending, our contingency fund. We will still have our 1.1 in contingency, which is also why, like, that doesn't get into supplemental budget issue.
Okay.
Luckily, we'll have a larger ending fund balance than planned. So.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, okay, so now that we have all that information, all in favor? Motion carries. All right, next item is information. No, was that right? This is about graduation and promotion, so, I don't know, what was that? Did you say something? I don't know, I wasn't here last month, did we talk about this at all? Like,
No.
who's going, or, oh, no?
Oh, you did, you guys,
I think everybody-
volunteered for who's going
Yes.
where.
And everybody, Marilyn knows, the principals know who's coming, we got that all. Okay, I just wanna make sure that part's taken care of. Did I tell you? I mean, like, it was 2 months ago, so I don't know what's going on. I know I'm going, so I don't know, is everybody else participating in graduation and promotion?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
So, if you guys have particular students, because I don't know who's coming, if you have particular students that you were hoping to give your hand to diplomas to, I just need that.
Okay.
Whoever you assign to.
Thank you. Okay. All right, did you have anything to comment on that?
No, just, so you have a preview of what the procedures are going to be, and, you know, everybody knows when we need to be somewhere, and, you know.
That is nice.
At what time.
Yeah, I do appreciate that, because I'm always like, what time do I need to be ready? I don't know. Not a person. Alright, so. Anybody have any questions about that? We're all good, okay, so trustee reports is next, Mike?
There's quite a bit going on here since last month. Went to a Lynn ESD meeting with Mike, and he was a speaker there after the meeting. They were telling everybody what's going on in Creswell, which nobody was there. Went to a couple of girls' football games or flag games, that was really fun. Looked like they were having a blast. Been to a couple tennis matches, and also went to a meeting with the homeowners association that owns the tennis courts. They had some issues they want to talk about, and Amanda the coach did a great job in talking to them, and then I'd like to have a couple of us get together with them in another month and meet the new AD, and maybe if Mike can go meet him, and we'll have it next year. They turns out that whoever redid that got them for $60,000 to resurface those courts. It just seemed like that was a whale of a lot of money. Why they were kind of growling. The meeting went really well, and then I was sort of involved in some bargaining for a while, I guess, next meeting is next Monday, but it, we've got a good crew, a good group, they have worked together really well. It's really kind of fun to sit back and watch how that all works, but they really do a good job.
You're busy.
That's about it.
I'm such fall this day. I know, I'm like, oh, I've been to some softball games, that has been fun. I've been to a few track meets, that has been fun. And I will be going to a play, apparently, that's happening.
Yeah, I've heard. I was in the work.
Yeah, so,
Is that just tonight or just tomorrow night?
no, it's 3
No,
days.
3
Three
nights.
days, yeah.
Sorry, I apparently was not listening to what you said. I apologize.
I put it in my
It's
calendar.
mainly a comedy.
Thank you.
Yeah, you asked.
I appreciate your
It's fine.
clarification.
Sarah, do you wanna go next? So I don't forget you.
Sure. I have been to all of the track meets, and I've been to a baseball game, a softball game, 3 middle school. I ran the shot put at 3 middle school track meets, and I went to the bargaining meeting with Mike. And I feel like something else, but I don't know.
Okay. Maybe. Jen? Nothing.
Nope.
Candace? Did you go to softball?
I just mostly went to softball, as in even tonight. We had our leadership meeting. I feel like that's all I did. That's all, that's it.
I'm glad you mentioned we had a leadership meeting.
We did.
I asked him, like, no, I was there. But I did go watch, Babe Ruth baseball. I did do that, and that was super fun out in Eugene, because they are tall and cute. So that is all I have done. And that is a few reminders before we leave, because we don't often have multiple meetings in a month. We do have budget committee, and it is on Zoom. Zoom on the 21st, 6 p.m. And then if we have to, we'll have it again on the 28th. Don't forget graduation, I think it's before we meet again. And then, I don't actually know what, oh, yeah, graduation and promotion are before we meet again, and then we'll meet again on the 11th.
I mentioned the 11th.
Oh, and the, yes, thank you. I was just looking at that. I was like, the 11th, we do meet at 5:30 because we want to be able to go down to watch the 5th grade promotion. So, thank you, Joel, for that. This meeting. But, all right, anything else for the good of the
I've
org?
got a question for Mike. So the 19th, we're meeting again at 4 o'clock in your office for the bargaining. But I thought I had an email instead of a switch, there was another later in the month or something, but
It's on the 19th at 4 o'clock, right, Amy?
Which, I'm sorry.
Our meeting, our policy bargaining meeting, we meet at 4 o'clock in my office before.
Just triple check real quick.
We also have a bond oversight committee meeting tomorrow.
My 4 o'clock.
okay.
All right, so that's everything. And adjourn meeting. Thank you, everybody. Great presentation. Yes, wonderful.